Welcome back, everyone. Today I wanted to go over probably the deck I'm most excited to play so far, at least in the Jetburn format, because Yu Yu Hakusho hasn't come out yet, and there's a lot of stuff I'm sure I'm going to be excited for there. But moving into 2024, I've decided I wanted to be quite a bit more competitive. I know I make a lot of fun videos, fun decks on this channel, which I'm going to keep doing because I do have a very casual locals, and I prefer to keep it fun and loose there. But I really want to make it to Worlds, so I'm trying to think a bit more competitively and a little bit more... Oh, excuse me, just hit my microphone, sorry about that. A bit more, high tier. So I started doing some in-depth analysis of the characters I had available, and I came across Deku 5, which I know a lot of people have been kind of iffy on, but I built this really fun deck, and I really can't wait to sleeve it up, and this is probably the most excited I've been to play a character in a while. And personally, I don't like Deku as a character, as in this game. Like, sure, he's got some fun stuff, but I've never really been excited to play a Midoriya deck. But that's changed, and let's get into this. So Izuku Midoriya 5 is a 6 hand size, 27 health character with air, all, and life for his symbols. He has 2 enhances. The first one is Ready 1 Rival Foundation, : so as your cost, you are readying a rival foundation. Your charge, kick, or punch attack gets +3 speed, +1 damage. Those of you as old as I am are probably looking at this and getting flashbacks to Yamato Man from the Mega Man Battle of Power series. Pretty much. And then he has an enhance once per turn. Discard 1 card. Draw 1 card for each charge attack in your card pool. Fun thing I didn't realize until after I built him and started, tinkering with some of the things. That is not a once per turn, your turn. So if you block with charge attacks, you can discard a card, say a low block if your opponent's got a high attack coming at you, and draw cards equal to the number of charge attacks that you've blocked with. So on defense, you can also have more card draw, so you can try to take advantage of the block zones on your attacks, and that way you're not losing as much, and you actually keep playing defensively. I really like that. And the readying 1 rival foundation for 3 speed and 1 damage, usually you're going to be pointing at a foundation they can't use, so like a face down or something for them to ready. You get 3 speed, 1 damage. Something for the rules is to keep in mind is you're readying it, but also your rival is readying it. So, hitting my mic, I'm sorry. So you're telling them which one to ready, and then they ready it. And that'll come in handy for a couple of things we want to do here. So let's move on to our attacks. I've got 2 Harpoon Vault. This is going to be an air-charged build, by the way, obviously, if you couldn't tell by reading ahead of me. 2 Harpoon Vault. It is a 3 difficulty, 3 control, 3 mid for 2 attack with a +2 mid block. It says first enhance if you have more face-down foundations than your rival. Unflip 1 foundation. We're going to skip ahead a little bit to see why this is relevant, because we are playing 4 Air Force style. And this says response flip after your rival readies a foundation during the combat phase, which means if you're telling them to ready something and they ready it, they shuffle it into their deck. So the main goal of this deck is to get Air Force style as quickly as possible, and thankfully it's non-unique, and then flip and unflip it as much as possible to debuild your opponent. So you're really working on a debuild board control style of play with this, and Harpoon Vault really helps you. So if you've been shuffling a bunch of their face downs, you can use this to unflip Air Force style, force them to ready something, flip Air Force style again, shuffle another thing back, and then with Midoriya, this becomes a 6 mid for 3. Not great, but it is only a 3 diff, so also not bad if you're just going for a bit of a poke, and mainly it's here for trying to unflip that foundation. Then we've got Last Second Release, a 4 difficulty, 4 mid for 4, with a +2 low block. It's got EX2. All of these attacks have charge. It has an enhance. If your rival has no committed foundations, selectively commit 1 rival foundation. So you get to point and click and say, that one gets committed, and then you can ready it with Midoriya, and then shuffle it in with Air Force Style. So with Air Force Style, Midoriya, and Last Second Release, you can selectively target down your opponent's best cards that you want to make sure that you are shuffling back into their deck. And this has also got a response. Commit 1 foundation. After this attack's block step, it gets plus 3 damage. So similar to the overhaul, where you flip a foundation for plus 2 damage during the damage step, this gets the plus 3 damage after the block step. So between block and damage, you can give it an additional 3 damage. So if they partial it, it goes to 7, so they'll take 4 as opposed to 2. And if they don't block it, they take the full 7. Or 8, if you've used Midoriya to make this a 7 mid 5, it could become a 7 mid 8. So really trying to get the most out of your Midoriya there. And then I've got Shoot Style St. Louis Smash. I've got this as a 4 of, because I really like the idea of being able to play this as like your 3rd, maybe even 4th attack, and you'll see some things ahead that could make that a little bit easier. Discarding a card with Midoriya to draw 3 or 4 cards, and then clear your card pool using the enhance on St. Louis Smash here, that if your rival has more foundations ready than committed, you may remove charge attacks in your card pool in addition to discarding momentum to pay for this card's powerful ability. And it's a powerful 3, it's a 4 high for 4, which with Midoriya it's a 7 high for 5. And then if you have enhance, if you have less momentum than your rival, add the top card of your discard pile to your momentum, so you could still get a little bit of momentum there. But to be able to play this as like your 3rd or 4th attack, discard a card from your hand, draw 3 or 4 cards, then use the enhance to remove those other 2 or 3 attacks for the powerful 3, especially if your opponent's been blocking a lot of stuff, and then you've been, removing their cards using Air Force Style. Make this a really strong attack, clear your card pool, and with Midoriya you've drawn extra cards to continue your kill string. And I think that is a really, really good way to start, that I really tried to craft this deck around, is the St. Louis Smash with Air Force Style and Double Jab Pummel. This is a fun combo charge that you'll see everywhere. It's a 4 difficulty, 3 mid for 5. It's got combo charge, combo enhance. If this attack is blocked, draw 2 cards and discard 2 cards. Period. And your next check to play a card gets plus 2. So you play this as your 3rd attack on a 6. Sure, you might have to commit a foundation, but then your next check is plus 2. So you play St. Louis on an 8. Yeah, my math is right. On an 8, your check gets plus 2. So if you check a 5, that's a 7. You just commit 1, and you get to remove all of those attacks, draw a bunch of cards, throw a bunch of damage, and this becomes a 6 mid 6 with Midoriya if you're readying a foundation. It also has a Deadlock enhance. Your next check to play a card gets plus 5, so in Deadlock, you're guaranteeing to pass your next check. It's always going to pass, so your opponent does not want to go to Deadlock against you, but they also don't want to have too few foundations, especially if you're snapping them away with Air Force Style, so they're going to want to build their foundations, and you just kind of want to control the board state with this deck and keep them on the back foot as much as possible. And if your opponent has no committed foundations, you can always use cards like Close Quarter Subdual, which is a 4 difficulty, 2 low for 4. Enhance, your rival commits 1 foundation for each charge attack in your card pool. So at the very minimum, they have to commit 1 foundation, because it doesn't say each other charge attack. So guarantee put something down, ready it with Midoriya, this becomes a 5 low 5, and again, if you've got Air Force Style, you're constantly shuffling those cards back into their deck, so you don't have to worry about that. Then we've got Swift Redirect, 4 difficulty, 4 mid for 4, with EX3. And it says, enhance, if there is another charge attack in your card pool, this attack zone changes to high, and it gets 2 damage. So it becomes a 4 high for 6. And then with Midoriya, it becomes a 7 high for 7. Pretty good. Pretty good on a 4 diff, 7 high for 7. A lot of people talk about a good attack has 3 stats per difficulty. That would have a little bit more than 3 stats per difficulty. Then I've got 1 Uravity Stunner here, mainly for the low block, and the fact that I can just enhance changes attack zone to high. It's a 4 low 6. And it has stun 1, so again, I can commit a foundation, then ready it with Midoriya to make this a 7 high 7. So, or a 7 low 7. I can keep it low if I want to get some of those low blocks out of your hand. Or if I know I'm going to set up for a shoot style loop, I want to get rid of the high attacks in your hand. So that these two cards allow me to kind of play to flood the high zone to try to make sure that my opponent gets rid of all their high blocks so that I can throw a very strong St. Louis smash and then continue with more attacks. And then my last attack, I've threw in a dramatic slash. Since we do have some assets, and we're only really playing one of each of them, it makes sense to want a way to not only use extra momentum if our powerful can use cards from the card pool, and we don't want to put any more speed on our EXs. This allows you to discard a momentum, build an asset from your discard pile, and then enhance if you have one or more assets, reveal the top card of your deck. You may remove it, and if you do, add the top card of your discard pile to the top of your deck. So, a little bit of cool, fun peeking there, especially if you've checked like a 5 or a 6 to play this card, and then you can discard a momentum, build the asset, or probably if you check the 6 on this card, you want to have the asset in there already to put the 6 back on top of your deck. Unless you had like a way to draw, and then you discard the momentum, and then put the attack on top of your deck, draw it maybe with Midoriya, so you can guarantee get another attack out there. So that could be a pretty fun way to loop attacks from your momentum, discarding them for this, or a powerful, well, mainly for this, because then you could remove the card on top of the deck and put the top card of your discard back on top. I'm sorry guys, I'm rambling tonight a little bit. It's been a really busy, physically intensive day, so I'm a little tired, so if I ramble, I apologize. On to the assets that we're playing. We're playing Air Force Gloves, of course. It's 6 check, 2 high block, it's a 2 difficulty. Response, after you play a charge or punch attack, if it does not already have stun, it gets stun 1. So every single one of your attacks now will be able to set up for Midoriya to ready to give 3 speed and 1 damage. Amazing. And then as a deadlock response, once per turn, after you play your second charge or punch attack, draw 2 cards. Again, I don't see your opponent going into deadlock against you, especially if you're using Air Force style to keep putting away all of their good cards, but it's always good to have those threats just in case. Then we've got Suited Up. There we go. It is a 3 difficulty, plus 2 high block, 5 control, tech unique asset. It's got a static. You may commit or destroy this card as if it was a foundation to pay costs, which I don't think you're going to be doing too much of that here. And then it's got 2 responses, both once per enhanced step-in responses. The first one is after the speed of an attack is modified, it gets +1 or -1 speed, only playable while committed. But I mainly play it for the bottom response, once per enhanced step. After the damage of an attack is modified, it gets +1 or -1 damage. Obviously only playable while ready. So when you ready things with Midoriya, and you have Suited Up, you're getting +3 speed, +2 damage on all of your attacks. Which I think just adds that little extra damage that Air sometimes misses, because Air doesn't have a lot of damage boosting. So this can really help chip your math up a little bit, and eventually put your opponent in a tough spot. And then for actions, I got 2 Engine Trouble. It is a Breaker 1 +1 low block, and Enhance, Remove, Commit 1 rival asset or foundation. So it allows you to touch your opponent's assets, and you get to selectively commit your opponent's foundations that you may want to ready and then shuffle away with Air Force, or just put them down so they can't hurt you for the rest of the turn. Pretty simple. Onto our foundations, we've got 2 Flustered. I don't know why my thing is lagging here. We got 2 Flustered. It's a 1/4 +2 mid-block foundation. Enhance, flip, if there's a charge attack in your card pool, you either targetly discard 1 rival momentum or draw 1 card. So if you're playing against someone like an Amajiki and they've got face-up momentum, you can get rid of one of those face-up momentum, or you can draw a card. And this deck loves to draw cards to then remove cards, and then draw more cards and play more cards, and just keep your turns going. We've got Quirk Expertise. It is a 2/6 +2 mid-block. It says Enhanced Commit changes attack zone to high. It gets +2 damage. So again, really putting more of that damage on these air attacks that don't necessarily have damage, and Midoriya is already giving us 3 speed. So with Quirk Expertise and Midoriya, you're getting 3 speed and 3 damage, which is pretty dang solid for readying a rival foundation that you can then shuffle away with Air Force style, or if it's a face-down foundation, they can't really use it for anything. And then you're committing this for +2 damage and changing the zone to high. And again, when our kill cards, like shoot style, are high, your Gravity Stunner is a pretty strong attack that can change to high. Swift Redirect can become a 4 high 6. It can really help to get some of those high blocks out of the hand, and then really just go ham, changing everything to high, boosting damage, boosting speed, and really just pressuring your opponent's defensive game. Then we've got 4 Reaching Out. I really like this card because it's a 2 difficulty, 5 control, +1 high block. And it says, enhance commit, your high attack gets 1 speed and 1 damage, and your next charge attack gets -1 difficulty. So in using Quirk Expertise and some of these other cards to change your attack zone to high, you can give your high attack 1 speed, 1 damage, and then your next charge attack, which all of these are charges, gets -1 difficulty. So say you don't have the double jab pummel to give your next check +2, you can make Swift Redirect or your Gravity Stunner a high, give it 1 speed, 1 damage, which I guess with Midoriya would be 4 speed, 2 damage, which is pretty good. And then your shoot style gets -1 difficulty, so it becomes a 4 diff instead of a 5 diff. So really just trying to smooth out how to play your string with as little committal on the turn as possible. I keep hitting my mic, I am so sorry for that. Then I've got 3 Snap Out of It. I know it's a unique, and it's a 3 difficulty foundation, but this is a card you want to see very quickly in the game. It is a student first enhance commit your turn, commit unflip 1 foundation. So this says, as your first enhance on your turn, unflip Air Force style, to allow you to then remove another card from your opponent's stage. That's why this is a 3 of, and as a unique, I'm okay with playing it as a 3 of, because if I get any others in my hand, I can just discard them for Midoriya's Enhance to draw more cards. Then the titular Air Force style, it says, got 2 responses. It says response commit after your rival plays a keyword ability, draw 1 card and gain 1 health. Neat. Not really why we have it here. I mean, if it's face up on your opponent's turn and they play like a powerful or an EX or a stun, you can commit this to draw a card and gain a health. But you're mainly playing it for the bottom flip, which is the bottom response, which is flip after your rival readies a foundation. During the combat phase, they shuffle it into their deck. So you tell them to ready something with Midoriya, they do, they lose it. And that's kind of the main game plan here, is to unflip Air Force style as many times as possible to continuously debuild your opponent's staging area with your flicking, as you're just targeting things down left and right, making it really hard for them to keep up defensively, and making it harder for them to launch a more offensive counterattack, because they have to be worried about you debuilding them again after they maybe commit a bunch of stuff to try to counterattack you with less and less foundations. Then we've got multitasking, another way to ready rival enhance foundations. You can ready a rival foundation, your attack gets 1 speed, 1 damage. Pretty simple. So if you have multiple Air Force styles, you can use Midoriya, then multitasking on the same attack to not only give you more bonuses, but also get rid of 2 foundations. If you had, say, only one way to do... if you wanted to get rid of as many foundations as possible and not worry about stringing out, or if you only had the 1 attack because it's a poke turn, you can get rid of multiple foundations if you have multiple ways to ready them in multiple Air Force styles. Then we got problem solving. This has 2 responses. The first one is, after you discard during the enhance step, your next check to play a card gets +1. So when you discard it with Midoriya to draw more cards, then your next check gets +1. And it's also some pretty good anti-stun with the second response, once per turn Tenacious. After this card is committed due to a rival effect, ready it. So if they have any cards that force you to commit, or stun cards, this will just ready itself again. Really good, really nice. So it kind of works well with both effects. You feel good playing it because it's anti-stun. You feel good having it in your hand because you can discard it to draw cards with Midoriya, and then your next check gets +1, so you can just keep on with your string. It feels really good. Overall, a really good feels-good card. And then we've got two nice try here. Obvious, enhance commit, this attack is -2 speed, and then response after your rival's combat phase begins, ready this foundation. Obviously really good, it's good speed hate, keeps you alive, and it keeps you going into your rival's turns. I keep hitting my mic. I am so sorry, guys. This is going to be one of my worst videos to watch. I can already tell. Moving on, before I do anything more damaging, we've got Can't Escape Me, which says response destroy after your rival plays an ability on a non-character card that adds any number of cards to their hand, cancel it. So if they have any abilities that draw on their foundations, or their attacks, or actions, or anything like that, that would pick up a card from their discard pile, or let them draw, or search their deck, you just destroy this, cancel it. And then Deadlock Enhance, commit, your attack gets +1 speed for each committed rival foundation. Again, I don't see the need for Deadlock in this deck if you're going to be focused on removing your opponent's cards, but it's still always good to have them there. Then we've got Cheerleader, probably one of my favorite defensive cards on Air, or any of these three symbols really. It is a 2 difficulty, 5 control, with response remove, discard 1 momentum. After an attack is played, it gets flash. Mainly you're going to be using this on your opponent's cards, so that if they play like a 3 damage or a 4 damage move and you don't want to deal with it, you can just remove this, discard a momentum, give it flash. If you want to block it, you can block it. If you just want to take the 3 damage, you can just take the 3 damage. I've played enough characters that have flash, or abuse flash, or anything like that. I know how dangerous it is to deny someone an enhanced step and how powerful that can be. 2 years ago at Nationals, I played Hagakure 1 and very nearly made the top 32. I think I was 1 win away, and then Kirishima 2 kind of just dunked all over me in the final round. But all of my wins were because I was targetly removing my opponent's enhanced steps with flash and making sure they couldn't combo or couldn't do all of their fun enhances. Like Tokoyami hates flash because how do you play your action during the enhanced step? But things like that, just denying your opponent an enhanced step at the right time can be really critical, and that's why I love this card. 3 basic training, 0 difficulty, 5 control, response once per turn after you play an attack, it gets 1 damage. Again, shoring up the damage side of the air symbol. And then Deadlock response, after an attack is played, it gets 1 speed. This is playable while committed. Again, just fun, making sure your attacks hit. Then I've got 1 Lemillion of the Big 3. I think this is pretty cheesy. It has 3 enhances. The first one is your high attack gets 1 damage for free. The second one is your mid attack gets +1 speed for free. And the next one is your low attack gets +1 damage for free. So again, putting damage on things like your Gravity Stunner, Swift Redirect. Your Gravity Stunner can get damage twice. But anything that you can then make a high to get extra damage with Quirk Expertise, or, like I said, these attacks that can change their zone. You can give damage or speed and then change it to high and then give it more damage. So just like a little cheeky fun one of, since a couple of our cards do play that zone change game. And lastly, we have Nejire-chan of the Big 3. It says, enhance, destroy 1 foundation. This attack is +1 damage, and if it's blocked, you gain a health. Good for destroying your committed foundations, or a suited up if need be. And then you can give your own attacks damage, or if you're going to completely block your opponent's attack, you can give their attack damage, and then you can gain a health when you block it. So decent on defense, but really mainly here for the offense, shoring up that damage side of the air symbol. So all in all, that is the Midoriya 5 that I've designed, and I'm, like I said, really anxious to sleeve this up. I'm just waiting on a few more cards from Rochester CCG. Shout out, you guys are amazing. And I can't wait to give this a try and really work on this. This and my Bakugo 4 are probably the 2 characters I'm most excited for going into the Jetburn era, which is weird because I haven't given really much thought to any Midoriya or Bakugo, and now those are the 2 that are at the top of my list. I find that kind of funny. But yeah, I'm really interested in playing these. I'm really excited, and I cannot wait to sleeve these up and really give some competitive... It is not a good day for me, is it? Just really focus in on the competitiveness of the post-jet burn formats. So let me know what you guys think below. If you want more deck profile content, I'm definitely going to be building more competitive builds going into 2024. I'm still going to keep up my fun builds because I think this is a game first and foremost, so it should be fun. So I'm always going to have some weird or wackier fun little experiments to post up. And with preview season coming up, I will also be doing preview reviews. So look forward to those. Subscribe if you like this kind of content. What do you guys think of Midoriya 5? Do you think he's really good? Do you prefer one of his other symbols? What characters are you looking forward to playing in the competitive season this year? Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya.